So I'm now live on the other side. They can't see me yet. They can't see Tanya yet either. But they're seeing a lovely picture of her pointing to Tanya Stevens live with Joseph Patterson on the page. And then I'm going to switch. So for our friends on this side, just to be very transparent with you, I am also on Instagram, but I have to look in a different phone. And with me tonight is Tanya Stevens. She'll appear momentarily on your screen. And we're going to have a chat, very comfortable chat, talk about um, Jamaica, the UIC movement that I lead. And she might even have personal questions for me. I don't know. We're going to find out. It's my very first meeting with her, so it's going to be a new experience. So good night to all of you, and welcome again to Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson, President of UIC Jamaica. And welcome again to all of you on Instagram. Let's see if we can have a good conversation, and I hope you can hear everything that we talk about from where you are. So here we go. Let me switch over here with a little bit of nice intro. All right, and now off. Good evening, Tanya Stevens. Welcome to UIC Liberty TV. And let me say I'm very honored to have you on tonight because it's the first time we're meeting face to face or even talking for that matter. So welcome and thank you for joining me. How are you today?
I am good, and I am equally excited to be here. I thank you for having me and for being willing to engage with a Jamaican citizen. This is a good start.
Absolutely. And, anybody who wants to lead our country in any shape, way, or form must be willing to engage and must be able to do so with any Jamaican at any level, in any strata, and in any industry that is legal within the framework of the Jamaican existence. So thank you for being willing to be here and to drill me or grill me, depending on how you look at it. I'm looking forward to that. First, let me do a shout out to all our members and supporters and the UIC leadership online tonight. I'm seeing our good friend Annalisa Gillespie, who is always here with us on every single show. Good to see you, Annalisa. Welcome, Tanya Thelwell. Tanya is our parish manager over there in St. Catherine. And I see we have Sir KB on. Douglas Allen is on as well. Steve Lynn, who is a powerhouse on our Facebook page. Denroy Shaw. I'm seeing Chavril and so on. So good to see you all. And on the Instagram side, I'm seeing Devon Thompson. Big up, Devon. And I'm seeing Bimmer Butler and Marlon Douglas, one of our councillor candidates over there in Clarendon as well. So good night to everyone and welcome to all of you. This is unplanned, by the way. We have no scripted questions. I have no idea what Tanya is going to ask me specifically. I know she's interested in the differences between myself and the other leaderships out there, and she wants to ask more about the UIC, but what she will ask, how she will ask it, is totally up to her. So let me give her a chance to introduce herself to those of you who, for whatever reason, may not know her on our UIC Liberty TV. She's quite popular from the 1990s with that very interesting song that she did. I had a chance to listen to it again tonight. I had to laugh a few times. Welcome again, Tanya, and please take over. Say what you want to those who are listening tonight.
Again, thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who joined, and hopefully will continue to be in conversation with us both, because I want to learn too. Let me introduce myself. I am Tanya Stevens, professionally Vivian Stevenson, my government name. I'm a citizen of Jamaica. I am a recording and performing artist. I'm a writer. Um, and I'm sorry?
No, go right ahead, please. Sorry.
Okay. I'm employed in the entertainment industry, and I'm a full-time citizen of Jamaica. And my reason for wanting engagement with you is because I come from a household that is JLP, unquestioningly JLP. And I grew up in the Jamaica Labour Party. And that was the basis for all of my political philosophies. I grew up in a household that was JLP. And in the 80s, in the early 80s, I knew Edward Seaga as Prime Minister. But in 89, in my 5th form year of high school, the PMP took over. And at 5th form, I wasn't developed enough emotionally and intellectually to be able to make any kind of a practical comparison between the two different leadership styles. I know that what I ended up experiencing in my late teens and young adulthood from the PMP left a lot to be desired. And I wanted different. I wanted different. I was 100% committed to being a part of that change to bring the JLP back. And I have no reason to be anything less than transparent. I'm a citizen of Jamaica. I vote legally just one time each election. And I have been on countless campaign trails with the JLP. Countless. I started my campaign career for as far back as I can remember. I don't remember ever there being a time when I wasn't on a campaign trail. So I give you background so you know where I'm coming from. I am not anti-JLP on a rant. I am not. I have no political aspirations, by the way. I'm not seeking a home for my new career. I have no such ambition, none. And I don't see the possibility of that changing. So I am here because I want to retire. I'm 48 years old. I want to retire in my country, my homeland. And I do not want to do so under any kind of pretenses. I don't live in a bubble. I've never lived in a bubble. None of the luxuries or privileges which life has been kind enough to hand to me has never made me anybody else. I don't want to move uptown. I don't want to move up into the bushes away from the people. I don't want to build an obtrusive wall that will be an affront to me and everybody around me. I don't want to employ 100 people to guard my head back. I'm not involved in any kind of war and I shouldn't have to do that. So this is why I am here to engage with you, because I see you as a viable option as far as me achieving that goal that I want personally and as a citizen of the country. Where we are right now, I have never been more convinced that we now have a strong possibility of changing what we're used to, what we've been fed all along. This kind of system that the Jamaican people fell into bed with these two guys, and it's a really it's a very imbalanced threesome. There's nothing in it for Jamaica. And I think, just like me, most people want out. So now I want to ask you, especially exacerbated by this pandemic, our current Prime Minister has made it clear that he's not into engagement at all. He doesn't think that his employment to us comes with any responsibility to us or obligation. And we are going through something that is unprecedented for those of us alive now. We've heard that it happened before, but none of us was there, you know? And the way it's been managed in mine and many other Jamaicans, in the majority of Jamaicans' minds, is less than appealing and less than practical, less than successful. And I'd like to know, after the next election, when you become Prime Minister, how is your engagement with the people of Jamaica going to be different? What kind of a management style do you have planned for us? I'm not hearing you now. Check your audio.
You are
Not
so
even
right.
speak.
I
Yeah.
had muted myself so I wouldn't interrupt you at all. My friends here on Instagram can hear me quite clearly, but you couldn't. But Tanya, I was listening intently to what you were saying, and I fully sympathize and empathize with you. And for full transparency, I grew up in a PNP household where my mother was um, she was a fan to the extent you'd call it fanatical. She was manly to the core. She loved democratic socialism, and she fought dearly to see to his vision for Jamaica. To this very day, she still remains loyal to Michael Manley, even though her son may have created another party. But I know that dementia kind of set in, so it's a bit difficult for her to transition. But I myself have never taken sides in my adult life. At 18 years of age, when I was supposed to vote for the first time, I told my mother I couldn't do it. She said, "What are you talking about? You can't live in a so I don't vote PNP." I said, "Mommy, I can't do it." She said, "You want to vote GLP?" I said, "Mommy, I can't do that either." She said, "Oh, so what's the problem?" I said, "From what I can see, these two parties have successfully divided our people, distracted our people, and are extracting the wealth of our people. And I couldn't possibly contribute to that process." I said, "I'd be authenticating that." This is me at 18 speaking to my mom. And I must tell you, from then on until I came back to Jamaica in 2011, I've been searching for how can we find a better way to govern ourselves so that Jamaica could be what it was meant to be. You know, Jamaica is supposed to be a beautiful country that's well managed, where everybody can live, can earn, and retire with dignity in their own country, and to do so in a space that protects their liberty as well. And so when you ask me about how I will engage with the Jamaican people, it's like this right now. I am the people, especially people to talk about how to move forward. I believe none of us have the keys and the answers to every single problem there is in society. That's why I have specialists, and some of us specialize in one area or the other. And then we learn to listen to each other, and we learn to benefit from each other and leverage each other. I was very disappointed when I saw the arrogant approach that has been taken by our Prime Minister. Not just him, he's not the first one. This is something that is common to our leaders, and I'll tell you why I think it is. Most of our leaders are fixated or were fixated on becoming prime minister. They weren't fixated on fixing Jamaica. So their fix is about attaining that. So I saw, for example, when PJ Patterson became prime minister, it was, "Oh, I have arrived." Portia Simpson Miller, "Oh, I have arrived." You know, the first woman prime minister. Bruce Golding, his entire goal in life was to become prime minister. You look at his navigation of the Jamaican political scene. Edward Siaga, it was, about me, the Don, the one man, I am it. Um, we need to move away from that and start focus on how do we create a country that benefits all Jamaicans. And that begins, Tanya, with respecting the sovereignty of the citizens. I heard the Prime Minister say the only sovereign is the government. That's the wrong way of looking at it. The government is there to protect our sovereignty. The government is not sovereign. The people of Jamaica are sovereign, not the Queen of England. The people of Jamaica are sovereign. And when, as politicians, we fail to know who our true sovereign is, we make some terrible mistakes in policy design, in judgment, and even in how we communicate with the people of the country, because we see them as subservient to us, as opposed to us being their servants and they being our masters, instead of the government being the master of the people. So the policies you've seen over the last 2 years are designed by a government and a prime minister who does not see the Jamaican people as sovereign, who does not respect the Jamaican people, and who believes that the people exist to serve the government instead of the government existing to serve the people. So that's the big difference between us in our philosophy, in our views, and of course, in our management style. The way I operate in the UIC is that everybody gets a say, and they get a say in a way that is responsible, that is structured, And they always know that they can come to me at any time and share with me the concerns that they have. But I'm also a strong leader. I believe a leader must be very clear, must have a clear path, a clear vision, a clear management structure, and he must demonstrate the kind of character traits he wants to see in those who are part of his or her team. So that's me.
Mm. Um, if, well, after the next general elections, when the Jamaican people make their discontent clear at the polls and you become the next leader of the country, you're going to inherit a system that is designed to exclude the will and the interest of the people and to protect the interests of the politicians. You will inherit that system.
Yeah.
What's to stop you simply stepping into their shoes and doing the same thing?
There's nothing actually, unfortunately, Tanya. There's the current system is designed to corrupt our leaders. Our colonial masters, I think we take them too lightly. Our colonial masters were brilliant men and women. They structured a system in every country that they went into, every country that they colonized. When they were leaving those countries, whether it's India or Ghana or Jamaica, they made sure to sow the seeds of division and corruption. And so that's a normal thing. So anybody who becomes and forms the government of Jamaica must be going in with a clear understanding that the system is corrupting and corruptible. That there's so you must go in with a sledgehammer ready to destroy that system and a resolute focus on destroying it. Now, that tells you something. Those who are currently in charge of our government has kept that system for 78 years now. They have kept it in place. They have perfected it and they have fully used it to do what it was designed to do, which was to divide the Jamaican people, distract them, and extract their wealth for a few. Now, there's a reason why it continues. The two parties, just like the UIC, needs to be funded in order to communicate with the people. Those two parties are funded by the business elite in Jamaica. So the political elite is the twin brother of the business elite. So the biggest companies, the big banks, the big insurance companies, the mega companies in Jamaica, they, through the private sector organization of Jamaica, controls the government of Jamaica. So all the policies you see, all the laws you see, are there to protect the interest of the elites of Jamaica. And that's why they funded those two parties, knowing that we really don't have an option. Whether you vote JLP or PNP, you're voting for the PSOJ. And you're going to get policies that are going to be designed to protect their interests and suppress the interests of small and micro enterprise. Their goal is to keep Jamaica in a cheap labor environment, a consumption environment, so that they can live very opulent, rich lifestyles, and the vast majority of us will be their servants, working to cut their lawns, to secure their homes, to wash their dirty clothes, and to be a part of their trade cycle to keep their wealth going. They have no intention of liberating and freeing the Jamaican people. Now, the UIC has come along with a very different approach. Our approach is we're going to be the people's party, which means we have to be funded by the people. Now, that's a very tall order because they have made sure to train our people to think that politicians are there to give them handouts, not for them to actually be donating to a political party and owning that party. The UIC now is re educating the nation to say, no, you need to own the political party and you need to own your government because if you don't, somebody else is going to own the political party and somebody else is going to own the government. And so that is where I'm trying now to change the minds, to change the hearts, and to convert our people into seeing that we must own our government, own our regulations, own our laws, own our policies. And those laws and regulations and policies must be designed to respect the sovereignty of every citizen so that each one of us can achieve our full potential as individuals.
Good. Well, I remember when past Prime Minister Bruce Golding was campaigning, and I've always been swept along with elections and vote along party lines by affiliation and by inheritance. But when Bruce Golding ran for the office of Prime Minister, that was the first time I made a conscious decision to actually vote for somebody. And he convinced me with his plans to introduce the discussion of constitutional reform. And he also impressed me with his declarations of being independent as far as funding and being in nobody's pocket. Being, not having any obligations to any individual except to the country. And I bought that. I bought into that. And basically, at this moment, you'll be standing in those shoes with all the same declarations. I mean, you're more believable. But is there any way that we can guarantee that when the country supports you, like they really want to? Because you feel a very unique spot. People want out. They want off of this carousel. They want to come off of the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
They want to stop being lied to. They want to stop being used. Even the die-hard, even the person who said the dog in my yard and the puss under the cellar, they want change. That's a reality. But how are we going to, how are we going to keep you on this path of change that we want and that you promise? I think I might have asked something along the same lines before, but I really want to hear something. I don't know, maybe I want some dirt on you that I can hold and say, if you ever tell how we can hold you accountable personally.
The dirt will be hard to find, but what you can look at, there are some factors you can look at. I'm not unlike I was not a popular member of the political elite who is now rising to lead a party, whether it's the NDM or the GLP. I was never connected to any of the two, so I don't have any vested interest. I don't have any connection. I'm not the person that they invite to their parties. You'll not see me with pictures beside Porsche or beside PG or beside Andrew or beside Manley or so. You won't. Well, you might see me in a picture with Manley when I was a baby because he had me on the national arena in his arms. But generally speaking, you don't see me in my adult years with them. What you will notice is the design of the UIC and the design of our new system that we want to bring in, which we call the Non-Partisan Constitutional Republic. It is designed to separate big money funding from government. And that is the key. Because when I'm elected through the UIC to be the Prime Minister of Jamaica and subsequently President, here's the big difference. Our party would not have had any dependence on big money. It's fully tied to the people of Jamaica. It's fully tied to the interest of the people of Jamaica. And so we're there to deliver on that. We have 5 years, the first 5 years, to show you that we mean business. And then, of course, at the end of the 5 years, if we have failed, you know what to do, right? But for sure, one thing you would have gotten out of all of this, you would have now given the other two parties a clear wake-up call that says you are no longer the only two options in town. You now have a third, and the people have chosen that third. You both get to sit out and look and see what good governance looks like after that. So while I must admit that it is a risk that the Jamaican people are taking, let's look at the risk carefully. You really have only three options. Option number one is you vote for one of the two, and you will get exactly what you have gotten for the last 77 to 78 years. You now know that for certain because you have seen the history, you have the data, you're not guessing, you're not wondering. you know for sure, you vote for one of the two, that's the likely outcome. Option number two, which many Jamaicans have been taking up of late, in the last three elections, 48% didn't vote, 52% didn't vote, and then 63% didn't vote. So the Jamaican people have been opting out. Now that option leaves us with option one, because if you don't vote, the small number who do vote will still give you one of those two. So you'll have the same outcome. The third option we, the people, have now is to say, let's give the UIC a chance. And that gives us, the people, at least a 50-50 chance of something very different from what we have had in the past. And so I think the odds are clearly in our favor if we should vote the UIC, because we have a greater chance of seeing a new and better Jamaica. And I'm counting on that.
So am I. Well, right now is January of 2022, and we have been in a hover pattern since around March of 2020. So we're approaching 2 years of stagnation. Many small businesses have gone under. Individuals have lost their jobs. We're not really hearing that being addressed right now. All we keep hearing is go take the vaccine. We're being ordered to take the vaccine to get water. We're being ordered to take the vaccine to do mundane, regular mundane, normal, basic human things.
Mhm.
In the same breath, we're hearing that there is no mandate. But I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. But if you say I need to take the juke to get water, it sounds like a mandate to me. You don't have
Absolutely.
to use the word mandate for it to be a mandate. Now we see that corporate entities have also joined in this madness,
Mhm.
where they're saying private contractors who they're affiliated with, employees, full-time employees, basically either have to produce a vaccine proof of vaccination or at their own expense provide regular test results to
Mhm.
state that they're COVID negative. When we have seen the proof worldwide, not just Jamaica, the world is coming in with more honest and correct and transparent information. Even if it's a trickle, it's still coming. And if we wanted to know, we could do our own checks. But we're now seeing that one, if you're fully vaccinated, you still can get COVID and you still can transmit COVID.
Mhm.
And the government is supporting this push to force people to take a treatment which basically makes them no different from the unvaccinated. I am
Mhm.
not here to audit the vaccine. I'm not trying to audit the vaccine, and I don't want to join the politicizing of the vaccine. The fact is that if you take the vaccine, you can still get COVID. And if you're vaccinated and you get COVID, you can still infect somebody else with. You give it to somebody else, just the same.
Yes.
And vaccinated people are turning up in the hospitals, as have been reported by medical practitioners.
Yes.
If you had the authority to make a difference to what's happening to us right now, what's being done to us by the people we've elected to govern our lives and businesses, what would be the first change you'd implement right now?
Well, right now, the government needs to make it very, very clear that taking any medication is an option. And they must make it very clear to employers that they have absolutely no authority to force, coerce, bribe, or trick, or in any way push employees to take anything into their bodies that they don't want to take into their bodies. Your body is yours. It is your sovereign property, and no one should infringe on that. So immediately, right off the bat, we'll make that very clear and make it very, very illegal for any employer to do that. It is important, however, that we educate our people on how to take care of their bodies, because our school system has failed us. So we need to make sure our government, which has our tax dollars, invest those tax dollars in educating us, not in pushing a pharmaceutical agenda, but educating us on how we can actually build our immune system and take care of ourselves. I got sick. I contracted the virus, and all my home remedies worked, including simple steaming and drinking hot fluids to make sure that you don't get the stuff passing. There are simple things we can do, and our government has not been advocating any of these simple things that could save lives, that could improve the quality of our health, and that could make our country be on a path where we don't have to be locking down. And we should never have locked down in terms of locking off people's ability to earn. Jamaica is a difficult country in normal times. Yeah. In normal times, it's very difficult for people to earn a living. Very, very difficult. People have to do extraordinary things to put food on the table. They have to work very, very hard. When we talk about hustle, it has a special meaning in Jamaica when you have to hustle to make ends meet. And I'm talking at various levels. Even people you think are not hustling are hustling because they're even using their positions of privilege to hustle. You understand? And so a government that sets up policies must be aware of the realities of our people here. So you cannot lock down Jamaicans who live hand to mouth. You cannot lock down communities that when you lock them down, you're talking about a small room hosting 8 or more people. You understand? You can't lock down students and expect them to be any better off because they're going home to unsupervised home. They're going home to inconsistent electricity. They're going home to little or no data access. They're going home to equipment or no equipment, poor equipment or no equipment. So for you to do these to our children, knowing the condition of our country, means that you're either insane, disconnected, or just plain evil. I'm not sure which one, but any one of them puts you in a pretty bad position. And our government has chosen to inflict this pain upon our people. You know why the crime rate is so high? The crime rate right now, the spike you've seen in crime right now, is directly related to the policies of the last 2 years. Directly related to the policies of the last 2 years. Because you've taken away little means that people use to survive, even as simple as a round robin. You understand? A simple thing as a round robin. A simple bar on the corner makes a difference. A little shop that was able to be open how many hours a night in the past, which you then took away from them. When you restrict commerce to 3.5 days out of the week, you've created a monster. And now we're suffering the consequences of that. So in terms of my immediate actions, that's what I would have done. But let's say I was prime minister at the time when this thing came about. The first thing I would have done was to treat this like an act of war. When you're going to war, you don't want to politicize the issue. You want to unite the nation to go to war. You want us to come together to do battle with our enemies. And so I would make sure I call a public emergency council and invite to be members all of the leaders of the relevant registered political parties and bringing together the smart people from science and technology and law and economics around the table. Then I'll make sure that we have a very transparent process, meaning all of us get the data that is necessary for us to digest and be able to come to the table with meaningful suggestions. Make sure the process is objective. Don't come with a predetermined plan. We know that this government had a predetermined plan. They were given directives by their colonial masters and they came with it. In my administration, it would be objective. What are we facing here and what do we need to do about it? And secondly, make sure that it is as transparent as possible so you can build trust in the people. If the Jamaican people knew that this was not a political agenda, this was not a hand-owners agenda, this was the people's agenda, it would have been much easier for us to manage the crisis. And again, without taking away the basic tools for providing for one's family. Yeah, we should have protected our economy while protecting the lives of Jamaicans. And if we were objective about this, we would have done early treatment. We would not have been sitting around waiting for some foreigners to come up with a solution. We would have spent the time and the energy. We're bright people, and we can think too. We can think for ourselves. So we can analyze the situation. We can have our scientists and our doctors, our medical experts look at the situation and say, what tell the people what tell the people what you don't know, and tell the people what assumptions you're making, so that when you have to make changes now, they can follow along with you, they can grow with you and understand with you where you're going. This prime minister, this administration took the Jamaican people for fools, behaved as though they were the slave masters and they should just dictate to us and we should just follow because we're idiots and they know everything. 45 of them, or whatever the number are, they know what's right and best for all of us in Jamaica. When I like Jamaican people, 80% of us so far stood up and said no. We said it quietly in our homes, quietly in our workplaces, with our students and our children in our schools, and we have stood up against a tyrant and a monster. And we, the people, have said to them, we will not accept dictatorship. Only 500 of us came out on September 22nd when I was jailed, but that 500 was enough to let the rest of Jamaica know that we can stand up. And we did stand up, and we will continue to stand up. And we will not allow them to get past the 20% that they have injected against their will. We are going to pressure the government, and if they keep pressuring us, we're going to push back even harder, and that may require an early election in the near future.
Oh, that would be wonderful. As you mentioned, early treatment. Mm-hmm. That is, and this is not a question. This is something that I've been baffled for the last year. Just I am at a loss as to why more of the masses don't loudly scream that they notice the absence of these two words, early treatment. Mm-hmm. That we have a minister of health and an entire ministry that he heads.
Yeah.
And none of them have strung together these two words since the beginning of a pandemic. They haven't offered any treatment options at all. They keep telling people about remdesivir, which we know is questionable. Yeah. By its own clinical trials and by all the reviews of it, we know it's questionable. So, all right, people say they don't want remdesivir. Yeah. Right? We've had countless medical practitioners. People were in them craft for how many decades. People were revered, were applauded and published and celebrated. Suddenly become quacks overnight because they said, do this thing to get better. If somebody is offering up a suggestion, or I haven't really heard any doctors giving suggestions. I've heard doctors saying what they do that works. This is a weird and crazy thing, that there are doctors that we've been depending on our entire lives. I myself have been in discussion with quite a few. And majority of them have told me, stay away from the hospital if I get COVID. Now, for a doctor to tell me that, I don't think it is practical or even it is not trustworthy of a minister of health to completely dismiss such a statement. We should at least be willing. My thing is, I could be wrong. I'm open to the possibility of being wrong. But why doesn't the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health want to prove us wrong?
Exactly.
This only comes through open and transparent dialogue. Mm-hmm. And that is not happening at all. We've seen that the media is one-sided. Mm-hmm. Well, it's mostly one-sided. I have to say, big ups to the Observer for actually giving me a column to state my opinion. I have an opinion piece in the Observer on Fridays, and it's not a COVID column, but COVID is a topic of the day, and the measures are encroaching on all of us increasingly. Yeah. And we're seeing our freedoms being eroded, our freedoms being jacked from us. They're not even asking, they're just taking it. And at this, for the past minute, I just vent because me vex.
which is fine,
You know,
yeah.
as a citizen of this country, I am me just sit down and look like, all right, am I in an episode of the original Twilight Zone? I am looking around me to see that host, the guy who used to come on and talk.
Mm-hmm.
I am listening out to hear him come with a little monologue at the end, because this cannot be real life. That they're saying a sickness is here, and people are saying, hey, we take this and it get better. Shut up. The Minister of Health is
Mm-hmm.
telling citizens of the country to discriminate
Mm-hmm.
against their family members, their friends, their loved ones, their co-workers, people they've known all their lives. Them don't know Tufton from nowhere. Them seen
Exactly.
on TV a beg vote. And the next thing you know, he's telling you to ostracize your own family members. Now, what are the results of that going to be? Remember, you know, this is the Minister of Health. Mental health falls under health. When you tell people to go ostracize and alienate them loved ones and drive them into insanity,
Mm-hmm.
should that careless and unthought out kind of statement be coming from a Minister of Health? Well, the
Absolutely
first
not.
thing I'm begging of the UIC, as far as health is concerned, address us mentally, because we are traumatized from all of the abuse we've taken from consecutive governments,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica needs therapy. Jamaica need
Absolutely.
a hug. Jamaica need a kiss on the forehead and some serious mental work.
Mm-hmm.
So please overhaul the mental health section of the Ministry of Health. Please, may I beg you
Well,
when you come. And notice I don't use words like if and hope and should and could. When.
yes, yes.
Because if Jamaica is serious about change, was it Einstein that said the definition of madness is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result? You have been going back and forth between the JLP and the PNP for a lifetime. It's not working.
Yeah.
And we're like some battered wives now, with a man who just come in, thump in our face, kick we down, and then crawl into the bed beside we and expect to be embraced and to be pleasured. And we're tired. We're
Yeah.
tired, we done. You know, I'm hearing Jamaican people, and I have likened this onto some kind of some version of Stockholm syndrome, because they've been beaten and bruised for so long that they've now become used to it. It's like a woman who says, if the man don't beat me, he don't love me. That's what Jamaicans have become, because they don't want to hear. Many of them, when you speak to them individually, Joseph, they'll tell you all the problems they have with the JLP and the PNP. But as election comes around and the man comes back, crawls back into the bed,
Mm-hmm.
and the shameless, hypocritical, low life man crawls back into the bed with no change at all, you know, not even offering up an apology, nothing. And I can guarantee you tomorrow Andrew is going to come on the TV again
Mm-hmm.
and shout after Jamaican people, ball after we like we're in picnic.
Yes.
Like a bad parent, like we have done something to encourage wrath, and how dare us like him care about we more than we care about ourselves. He said it earlier
Agreed.
before
Yeah.
COVID too. Do you remember he had a town hall meeting and
Mm-hmm.
somebody asked about needs? From them time, let me start praying,
Yeah.
because the response was disgusting.
Yeah, man. To a young man.
And when he blatantly lied that there was nothing in the needs bill that says if you don't have needs, you can't access education or health. When he said that, I went on the website immediately and searched, and I found it. You
Yeah.
will not be able to access health or education. It was there. I saw it on the needs website for myself.
Yeah. No,
And I
it's very
screenshot it and I
frustrating.
said, this is a dangerous, dangerous gentleman.
Yes. Yes. He's very dangerous, and I don't think as many of us yet recognize. He's done so many things, shown us signs upon signs. When a prime minister is appointing his own senators and finds it necessary, remember now, is you appointing them,
Yes.
they're already going to be somewhat beholden to you because they're coming from your party. They're also being appointed by you, which means they're going to have some level of favor towards you. They know
Some
that you
knowledge.
they know that you can appoint them as a minister of government. So that's a step up. You're going to get office, you're going to get a position of power and access to money. And when on top of all of that, he still felt it necessary to get those senators to sign undated resignation letter. That is all the sign you needed. Nobody should have ever trusted him again after that. But then guess what he did after that? After that, he was supposed to appoint a chief justice. This is a critical part of the checks and balances in any government, that you have your executive, your legislative, and your judiciary branch being separate, so you can have proper accountability and checks and balance. And the prime minister decided he was going to play with the appointment of the chief justice by giving him a temp position. You're going to make the chief justice a temp employee, so that if he doesn't play by your rules, you can just pull the
Yes.
temp contract and let him go. That's the kind of control he wanted over the judicial branch of our government. And right now, this fellow is so dangerous. Right now, he's tricking the nation. I tell you, no more lockdown, but I'm going to work on seeing if I can get more powers in the Constitution. So he's now spending his effort by rearranging the cabinet to bring in more legal powerhouse into the picture. And their goal now is to figure out how can we get around the two-thirds majority requirement of the Constitution. So I, as Prime Minister, will have the power to do what I want without being forced to have to consult with the rest of Parliament on the matter. This is a very dangerous moment we're in Jamaica, and we have to get him out before he finds the loophole. Because the loopholes are there, he knows. It's just a matter of how much money and time do I have to get at it, to find it, to twist it, so that when I'm ready now to say, if you don't have the NIBs and you don't have the CBDC, which is the central bank digital currency, and you don't get the so-called vaccine passport, you will effectively be kicked out of society. That's where this guy is heading. He wants to make sure that he brings in the digital currency. When you have a digital currency, for those who don't understand, what it means is that the government will have the authority to turn on and off your access to your money.
Yeah.
Right now, they can't do that. It's very difficult to do that. But when you convert the entire nation to a digital system of money, which is controlled by government, you will be able as government to turn on and off. So we don't like Joseph. We have a problem with him. He's not behaving right. Turn off his access to money. You're crippling. How can he be a political opponent if you turn off his access to money?
Mm-hmm.
You realize where we're heading here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is very, very dangerous. And now what he's going to do, instead of locking, he's going to lock out the vaccinated from the economy
Yeah.
and force you, by nature of your need to be a part of the economy, you're supposed to go and take this. So we're in a very dangerous position, and the Jamaican people are waking up. I'm very happy for that. I am seeing it. They were slow. We crawled a bit. You explained earlier on the kind of relationship that we have been in. But to be fair to the people of Jamaica, the truth is they were conned. They were conned by the business elite of this nation, who've been playing both sides of the coin and tricking us, telling us that we have an option, that when we vote PNP this time, we're going to get something different, or if we vote GLP this time, we're going to get, when all the time you're getting nothing different. Every time you vote in an election, you're voting for the PSOJ. Remember that. Every election, you vote for one of these two. You just say, I'm making my X for the PSOJ. You're not making an X for Mark Golden because you think now he's new and is going to bring. Mark Golden, no matter who you make the head of the PNP, it's still a body controlled by the PSOJ. No matter who you make the head of the GLP, it is still a body controlled by the PSOJ. So now we have to make our own political movement. We have to elect our own political party. We have to fund our own political movement. We have to vote for our own political party so that it can be representing now not the PSOJ, but the people of Jamaica. And that's why the UIC is the People's Party. What's your next question, Tanya?
Let me just marinate in that a bit. That's why the UIC is the
People's
party
Party.
for the people.
Yeah.
Now I'm not a member of the UIC. I've been flirting with the idea of I'm going to become a member. The change that I want, I'm not going to be a coward or sit on the fence and wait and depend on other people to go and make that change for me. I'm not interested in representational politics, but I am interested in being active in the change that I seek. I'm not asking anybody else to go out and do what I would not do. So I am becoming a member of the UIC, and I'm inviting everybody who's watching right now to hold the UIC accountable. We have an opportunity here. This is a baby, and with a baby, you have the chance to instill different values
Mhm.
and nurture healthy habits, because there is no pattern formed yet. We know what the ideals are, and the things that you've stated are things which Jamaicans want. The ones who are capable of articulating it are saying it and have been saying it for a while. And those who don't know how to say it, make it clear in their movements.
Absolutely.
For 60% to stay away from the polls in our country where very political. That is the loudest statement that has ever been made. And it's been the percentage of the electorate that goes out every election has been dwindling consistently over time. And if that not allowed, I don't know what is. So I really welcome you to this arena. What took you so long? Me should have drip, because goodness knows we've been hurting and we need it. And I want to say something else too, because we've been divided over so many things. It's so easy to divide us. We sit in our different corners and we sit apart and we focus on our differences. And we allow other people to use our differences to divide us. Let me tell you, the people who are in politics, they're not all exactly the same. They have differences too, but they overlook the differences and focus on their crooked similarities. And
Yeah.
they allow that to create the environment within which they manage to work together. They don't like each other, and we know this. But they manage to overlook that in the battle between us and them. Because it's them versus us. Don't make no mistake about it. They're not working in our interest. So I am an out of the closet atheist. I don't do religion at all. I have no problem with somebody else being religious. I will fight for your right to be and religious and to practice whatever religion you subscribe to, as long as it's not one that encroaches on me or anybody else.
Absolutely.
You have that right, and I respect it, and I always will. I only assert my right to not have to be a party to it. That's it. I keep myself to myself. I don't try to spread my luck off. I don't see eye to eye with every Jamaican, but they don't need me to say eye to eye with them. I will fight alongside them to preserve the rights that they are entitled to. And this is what I come to the table with. I present myself, not for office, but as a support system, because everybody can't run. You need a strong support system. I am a part of it. And I invite everybody else who means Jamaica. Well, listen, this is not a marriage, and even a marriage can be dissolved. But you can't just sit there on the side and keep saying, nobody can, I go one of them win, no new party can. If you keep that attitude, then yeah, that becomes true. But 60% of us have the power. We don't even need anybody from the actively voting percentage of the electorate. If the 60% that's been jaded by the two parties, if the 60% has been disappointed, has been bruised and battered and hurt and heartbroken disappointed because they can't believe, like me. I can't believe this is a JLP that I loved so much. I'm disappointed. My heart broken. Me not gonna lie to you. Me shame like dog. Me just shame for know say me put my hat in the ring. But we can't stand on that embarrassment for the rest of our lives and keep complaining about what is not happening that we think should. At some point, we have to stand up and say, you know what, I've done this thing that I now think is a mistake. When I did it with good intent. Every emotion that I'm expressing right now, I've always had them. And I've always expressed them. Always. I've criticized the PNP, I've criticized the JLP. I have nobody who is above my reproach. Nobody. Not even me. I criticize me too. So, I'm inviting Jamaicans at home and abroad to do what is right by all of us. Don't do what is right by Tanya Stevens. It's not about me. It's never been about me, never will be about me. It's about us. It's all of we. We're in this together. And when they hurt one of us, they're hurting all of us equally. We know so what the man do not right. We know say Andrew arrogant. We know we see him talk down to we every day. The man don't have no manners. If him did even all the things where him do and have manners with it and try to hide it behind a veil of pretense, he doesn't even bother to pretend. He just come right out and be like, lowly peasants, I say. And he has this approach of, because I said so. And it is not enough. Now I know that people are of the opinion, I know my chat long, but please forgive me.
No, please go ahead.
People are of the opinion that when you speak against an authority figure, automatically you're almost criminal. But no, nobody should have that kind of autonomous authority. Nobody should have that kind of power. No human alive or dead should have that kind of power. That they get to say everything without any kind of dissent, without any objection, no opposition. It should never happen. And the other day we got into even more dangerous ground because the JLP is saying one thing, and then all of a sudden I see the PNP start corroborating the foolish. Like, Lord help us.
Yeah.
What is going on? We don't have no opposition no more. What is going on? I don't think the PNP and JLP supporters realize how dangerous that is for them. It is not dangerous for the person who opposes you, you know. Honey, every precedent that is set, JLP people need to understand that whatever precedent is set by Andrew, if he comes out and the PNP comes in, you're stuck with it, you know. And if you don't want, just here's how to measure Andrew's behavior and his performance. If this is not something you would want from the PNP, don't take it from him. Even if you're a die-hearted Labourite, hold him accountable. It is your job. For said, brother, this is not what I vote for. And I wouldn't if you wouldn't have accepted it from Portia Simpson Miller, do not accept it from Andrew either. Your criticism of one leader should not be personal. It should be on performance. Regardless of whether you like him or not. If you like him, then go hang out with him. Go party with him. Make it personal. But when it comes to governance of the country that we all have equal franchise in, he shouldn't be given a free pass. And he's getting nothing but free passes. Nothing. Remember, you know, just think about this, Mr. Patterson.
Yeah.
Just before COVID, he shut down most of Kingston. Me don't know how the people in Ugly Park Road have survived the businesses because they were shut down for so long when he disrupted all of Kingston by doing a simultaneous fix, a blanket fix of the entire parish one time. No rollout with no measured rollout so that people could actually keep surviving while he's fixing. No, him do it one time because him a the man and him want to make sure say him secure him election win. So him roll out and say, Sita, Maguno Road. But in the interim, many businesses suffered. And then right on the heels of that came COVID. Hagley Park, we know, all right, how not survive? Bars are out. And for the life of me, I don't understand if this is a pandemic, if this is a health crisis, if COVID is a virus that attacks primarily my respiratory system, why can I still go and buy a pack of cigarettes, but I can't go to work? If COVID is attacking primarily, it kills us through the lungs, right? This is the primary way it kills us. Why am I able to chain smoke cigarettes, but I can't go to work healthy. This is a problem. It's a problem when we're not able to ask ourselves the critical questions. And when we have alliances which run so deep that we overlook things which are coming. People around me can't do no foolishness. People around me not have no free party. People around me hold them to higher standard than everybody else. You don't get to come near me and start no disruption, because when I walk away, people said Tanya Stephens was here and she did this. They're not going to look and say it's my friend. So my friends are fit. That's why I'm not friendly. No more want to understand why the JLP supporters are accepting this from the people that they elected to govern all of us. Them is not JLP government, them is Jamaica government. And you put them there. So all of we have to hold them accountable together. I'm going to stop right now and make you talk, because she's emotional about this man.
I am enjoying it because you are echoing the sentiments of all Jamaicans. I believe any Jamaican who don't share the sentiments that you have expressed is somebody who is absent from the reality of what's really going on. Somebody wrote in the comment section while you were talking, reminding us that the current government enjoys only 21% of the electorate. At the time that they were elected, 21% of the electorate voted for this particular government.
And they're less popular now.
20, yeah, and less, yeah, 21 and 20. So a government of 21% is seeking to be a dictator. Just imagine if we had made the mistake and it was a larger percentage of us that voted for this government, how much more arrogant they would be. You see, the way Jamaica's system is set up is a first past the post system. So it's just whoever won the majority in a seat. It doesn't mean it reflects the popularity across the country. So what happened? The JLP won the majority of seats. Now it's even worse for the worse for the PNP, because they got less than 21%. So obviously the Jamaican people are tired of them both. But where do we go from here? What I like about what you were saying a while ago, Tanya, which I hope all of our listeners and viewers picked up on, you are echoing the value system of the UIC, where the UIC is not a special interest movement. We're not here to, for example, advance the cause of any particular religion, for example, right? And you talk about you being an out of the closet atheist, and you find the UIC is very comfortable with that because we're not here to push any particular religious agenda. What we want to do is to make sure we protect the rights of every Jamaican to pursue their religious agenda, uh, or any other agenda that you want to pursue, as long as that agenda does not include you using force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of anybody else. And that's the core philosophy of the UIC, because we believe if we want to bring out the best in our people, if we want to bring out the best in all of us, it is to create an environment that liberates all of us. It is to create an environment that protects you from those who want to use force and fraud while allowing you to achieve your maximum potential. And this is key. And when the Jamaican people realize how critical that is, they would have in so many different directions, and now you can find your center of gravity and pursue your best self in a new Jamaica. And that's why the UIC talks about a real new Jamaica. In fact, that's the title of tonight's discussion, a real new Jamaica. Because in the past, some of our politicians have spoken about a new Jamaica. And what they gave us was the same old Jamaica wrapped in a different color, whether it's orange or green. And what we want now is a real new Jamaica. And when I speak of a real new Jamaica, here's what I see, Tanya. I see a Jamaica that is safe, not one where a 9-year-old is going to be um, abducted and killed, or two women being executed, or every day you wake up to different forms of monstrosities and murder rates. 37 in the first week of 2022, nearly 50 already, and the year has just started. Nearly 1,500 murders last year. and it goes on and on and on. So when I talk about a real new Jamaica, I'm talking about a Jamaica that is first and foremost safe. This is critical because no government should wear the name government if they cannot secure the people of the country. That is the most basic and most fundamental purpose of having government. We don't have government to dictate to us. We have government to provide security so that we don't have to fight each other to settle differences, so that we don't have to kill each other to settle differences, so that we have a good justice system and a good policing system. And for 77 long years, these two parties have been trying to create a safe Jamaica. And if you watch the trajectory, it has only become a more and more unsafe Jamaica. The longer we elect them, is the more unsafe Jamaica becomes. The longer we elect them, is the weaker our dollar becomes. The longer we elect them, is the more our cultural norms, the things that used to bind us together, the community we used to enjoy, the social connection, becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. We become more estranged from each other, and we develop into an antisocial society which is marred by violence at every turn. Something is wrong, and I can tell you what it is. It is because these two parties have not let go of the colonial legacy. They continue to imprint upon the Jamaican people the legacy of European divide and conquer. And that's what they keep pushing out to us, and they keep breathing that into us until it becomes our cultural norms and we kill ourselves. It's time for us to reverse that. We must re educate our children. I don't know if you had a chance to see the UIC's education plan. The top of that plan is to switch from the idea of passing exams and focusing primarily on just academics. What we want to do is to make sure our children learn three things, which is critical if they're going to succeed, not just in Jamaica, but globally. Every child needs to know themselves. They must understand themselves implicitly and explicitly. They must understand their minds, their body, and their personality if they're going to be able to be effective citizens in Jamaica and of the world. So we focus on developing an understanding of self. That's the number one thing in our new curriculum that we're going to bring in. Number two, our children must understand human behavior and human relationship, how to relate to each other, how to build a strong family relationship, personal relationship, friend relationship, professional relationships, because that is key. If you can't build good relationship and deal with conflicts and be able to work with people, build teams, that's how we were conquered by the Europeans. They didn't come here divided. They came here with ships stocked with men and women designed to conquer any land they step on. They came here with a master plan and they executed it. We cannot afford to be divided. We need to have a common bond and understand how to work as teams. So that's number two, relationships. And number three, our children must understand money, the politics of money, the economics of money, the science of money. Because if you don't understand money, then other people will be controlling you for the rest of your life. And that's why politicians were able to trick us, because we don't understand economics. So they tell us lies. They tell us things that sound pleasing. For example, the current opposition leader is about to use a well-worn lie. He is going to offer the Jamaican people that they should get a minimum wage of 12,000. Why? Because that's very easy. Easy to say. They can come in, they can even raise it to 12,000. But shortly after they raise it to 12,000, your cost of living will move to twice what it is now. So the question is it the minimum wage you need to raise, or is there a deeper economic problem that you need to fix? Well, the UIC will fix the deeper economic problem as opposed to using minimum wage to play with your minds to get political votes. So we have to teach our children how monetary systems work, how money works, how things like the minimum wage and other such sophistry are used to trick us as opposed to really building our economic wealth and our economic prosperity. So the UIC want to rearrange the thinking of our people, beginning with an Afrocentric springboard. We need to understand African history, understand how we came to be where we are today, and what we need to do to get out of it. What was Marcus Garvey trying to do? Why did he fail? Where did he succeed? And how we can build on that and create a new mindset. So things like these, I don't see that coming from our political leaders. They're very comfortable keeping us under a white queen for the last 60 years. They're very comfortable practicing a Eurocentric, divisive, partisan political system. They're very comfortable having Jamaica attached to a monetary system which they know or should know is robbing the Jamaican people of their wealth, depressing our dollar, and making us a consumption nation and destroying our exporting capacity. They should know these things. And if they don't know it, they have no business controlling our government. And so, for the first time in the history of Jamaica, we're going to apply proper economics, proper politics, proper education, and put in place a healthcare system that's focused on preventative care and moving away from dependence on imported pharmaceutical solutions. We must teach our people to take care of themselves, and we must develop our own indigenous solutions and make us independent, water independent, energy independent, and food independent if we're going to be a truly free nation. So those are my ranting for now. I just enjoyed yours a while ago. Next question.
I don't really have another. Well, my only question would be, what are our options as far as demanding an early election?
Okay. So the current constitution allows the prime minister to call elections at any time prior to the end of the 5 years. So it sets a 5 year limit, but it doesn't tell you, it doesn't set an election date. By the way, the prime minister had promised, I don't even remember that, he said it in his first 100 days of his first term, given us a fixed election date. We're now in his second term. Um, just to show you how much you can
Well
trust
beyond 100 days.
exactly. But here's how we get an early election. The Jamaican people agitating. So as we come together and the UIC continues to swell and more people disengage from supporting the government and start communicating their dissatisfaction and not cooperating with the government, then it's going to become difficult for him to continue to say that he is really prime minister. He's already getting there. He's getting angry because he's feeling the slip away. It's slipping. He's feeling the Jamaican people moving away. So you're going to see polls coming out that will say, his ratings are now down to here, down to here, down to here, down to here. So we, the people, as we start to agitate and as we start to express ourselves to say that we're very dissatisfied, and the pollsters start to come out and showing in the polls that he's really way down. And by the way, I don't think he's going to run for a second term. I can tell you that. I can tell you why. The decisions he's taking is showing me that he has a higher master. He does not feel he needs to even think about winning the next election. What he needs to win, and this is the dangerous part, he needs to win the plans given to him by his colonial masters. He must get the NIDS to be functional. He must get the digital currency to be functional. He must get the so-called passport, that special virus passport, to be functional. And he must bring Jamaica to a place where we're closer to a totalitarian state than anything else. Now, if it works, one of two things will happen. Either it doesn't work as he wants to, and he just simply steps down, gets the money which is promised to him, and he goes off into the sunset and enjoy a wonderful life. Because as you know, every prime minister, based on the current law set by P.J. Patterson, every former prime minister gets the same salary as a sitting prime minister. That is the diabolical law that P.J. Patterson, that's the legacy of P.J. Patterson. He made sure to pass a law that says all former prime ministers must get the salary of a sitting prime minister. So Andrew is fine. He's, he's doing it the bidding of his masters, and they have made him the promises that they needed to make him, and he's going to benefit from that as long as he inflicts on the Jamaican people the measures that they've told him to inflict on the Jamaican people. So he will go off into the sunset and he'll be laughing because we will be suffering and he will have gotten the benefits, plus a prime minister's salary for the rest of his life. If he were to really want to win another election, then he would have had to change course and make some adjustments. And as you see, he's very, very angry because what he's not achieving, he is not achieving the goals that his master set out. So he didn't get the 65% target that he wanted by now. He's still pushing for it. He didn't get the NIDS bill to pass in the way that he wanted it to be passed, but he's still going to circumvent the loopholes that are there. And he is getting, by the way, no Jamaican has been fighting against the CBDC in general because people don't even know what that is about. They don't know what CBDC is. Most Jamaicans don't know that in January of last year, the Central Bank of Jamaica fully passed from being a government enterprise to now being a private enterprise, which is owned by private cartels in and outside of Jamaica. And our central bank is no longer our bank, but it's still in charge of our money supply and interest rate and exchange rate so that they can manipulate it and continue to rape the Jamaican people economically. So the people are not educated enough to understand that and to fight because they don't really know it. And it takes so much energy to break it down to a level that will cause them to be agitated. That's why they have no problem with learning loss that our children have suffered. They don't mind having 90% of us being highly uneducated. They have no problem with that. So we the people now, in this small moment in time, must be galvanized and must be agitated to the point where we pressure the government to have early elections by somewhere late 2022, definitely by early 2023. And then we have a new government, a UIC government, and we move on from there. But it's not going to be easy because he's a very, very cunning and determined person, and he has constitutionally another 4 years to go, and he can milk that to the very end if it suits him. But don't put past the internal fightings of the party, because there will be people there who don't plan to go away after this election, and they would want to make sure that there's some chance of them actually, retaining government. And so you might find that the daggers within the party might actually do the job for the rest of the Jamaican people. Yeah. Sorry.
Check your audio.
Say that, Tanya. I didn't hear you.
It was me. Somebody was
Okay.
calling.
Okay. No
Sorry.
worries. So, yeah, man. So we have lots of things will be happening in the next few days, months, and weeks. But we'll see how it all
Your audio
plays
is
out.
gone.
My audio is gone or yours?
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Technical challenges. I don't know what to do. Somebody called and the audio went.
I can hear you now, but you can't hear me, right?
We don't even have a summary. I don't know. Is there anybody who can tell me what to press? Because I am an idiot with technology.
Wow. Well, keep pressing until you find something. So
and this person is stop calling and is not texting. Like, why do people do this? You can hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
So I can't hear you at all. And is anybody saying I can't read because
drop off and come back on. Let me do it.
Is there anything that I can touch? Has anybody said anything?
Let's do it this way. Sorry, guys. Let me just send her a message here.
For me. Men need to at least learn to use this if they're going to use it, right?
This is life. Don't worry.
Oh, John. Well, I really, really enjoyed this. I wish I could have done this the whole night because I need the hope. I need to see the possibility. I don't really like the word hope, but I need to see that there is the possibility that we can get out of this bind that we're in, because this has not served us and it serves us less every day. So regardless of whether the UIC came along or not, we needed out. That you come along is quite fortuitous. We really, really appreciate that you're here and we can do this together, because we're not looking to replace the PNP and JLP with another similar animal. We want something different, more inclusive for the Jamaican people, that people have. I come from one room at St. Mary where poor people pick me, and me, no forgot where I come from. Someone know say me at 8 years old, at 7 years old, would be considered when they're making all of these high-valued plans for the country. I would be considered and not told that I'm just statistics. I don't want to hear nobody say, oh, every new medicine come in have some kind of negative side effect. Well, what you're talking about, the small percentage is a lot of people. It's actual people. We don't dismiss people like that, and we don't write them off, and we don't undervalue them or treat them like they have no value at all. So me happy for you, so we have alternatives. Me thank you very much. Me know say you have something to say. I want to hear them and the thing now come back. Sir, who called me? Uh, I put a pox on you.
So,
God,
what?
man. Joseph, thank you so much. Mr. Joseph Patterson,
My
um,
pleasure.
the founder of the UIC, president of the UIC, leader of the UIC,
Mm.
and next Prime Minister of Jamaica. It gives me great pleasure to sit here and talk to you, and you know, me
Well,
can't wait. Me
let's
can't
try.
wait for you to big up yourself, PM.
Let's see if we can. Let's see if I can get you on WhatsApp. We'll
Everybody
try.
else who can't hear, you can tell me.
Let me see if that works. Here we go. So I'm gonna try to call you. I'm calling you on WhatsApp now. See if you get it.
God have mercy. Oh, that's you calling me now.
Yes, I am so. Can you hear me? Yes. So what you're gonna do? Just come off and come back on. So just lock your thing out and come back in, and then that should fix it. Yes. All right. Waiting for you. Good. Good. All right. So one technology failed us, and we are going to do another way. So she'll drop off the call, and then she'll come back on. But what a beautiful conversation this is. And this is so unplanned, it's impromptu. I had no idea what she was going to ask. I didn't know that she was going to join the UIC on air. So that was really a unexpected and much appreciated. Let me see if I can bring her back now. I see her there, but my computer said, there we go. Wonderful. All right. Can you hear me, Tanya?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
It says, Tanya, can you hear me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
Wonderful. No, I can't see you though. So you have to turn on your video.
Oh,
There. No, I can see you. Don't touch it. Oh, you
okay,
had it right. Put it back on. Put it back on. I think
okay.
our network is a little bit slow. Um,
Yeah.
you know. So, but
Are
we'll
you
take.
seeing me now?
I am seeing you loud and clear. Seeing you very
Okay,
clearly. Come
great.
on. So I was just telling our audience here that this was so unexpected. I did not expect you to publicly join the UIC tonight. I had no idea. So I'm
Neither
talking, and
did
I
I.
feel like I'm talking to an old friend. You know, I feel like I've known you forever. But I didn't expect it. It was a pleasant surprise, and all Jamaica is cheering. Everybody online is cheering for that. I think people just really want the change. And earlier, Tanya, you were talking. You're saying if it's not UIC, whatever else. But listen, you wouldn't know what a painful journey it has been to even get to this point. How painful it is. Did you know that they changed the electoral laws in 2018? They created new laws. Were busy trying to eke out a living. They changed the laws and they brought in new regulations that says for you to be a political party, you have to meet a number of requirements and you have to register with the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. Prior to that, there were no real rules for but anybody could be a party. You could wake up tomorrow and say party number 26 and you're here and you could do whatever you want for the most part. The two major parties, the two older parties have been doing whatever they want for all of those years. And then in 2018, they brought a new law into existence that would make it very difficult now for third parties to exist. So when they brought those new laws into existence, it immediately got rid of all the other fringe parties that existed. There's no more parties. It got rid of all of them. The people don't know this, you know. The Jamaicans, this is the kind of stuff that's going on. So the people didn't realize what was going on. So they did away with and removed all other parties quietly with these new laws. And so we, the UIC now, which was already in the wings, working behind the scenes, building up ourselves and so on, we now decided to apply under the new laws.
The
You go
same
on again?
person keep calling.
It's don't answer.
I have to off and come on again. And
you can't hear me.
this is not
Okay.
even somebody in my contact list. This is somebody calling from one of them Facebook or something messenger. This is so annoying. So
It's a
I have to
plan.
come off and come on again.
No problem.
Let me
Go
just
ahead.
do it one more time. People, please bear with me.
Yeah, sometimes I find when I'm doing lives as well that people would call me and try to interrupt the live, so I'm not surprised. But we're doing well. We've done well so far from the beginning to now, and we'll continue. She'll come off and come back on. But all right, so here we go again. Let's see.
I'm so
She
sorry.
should be on with
I'm
us
really, really sorry.
momentarily. Hey, big up Jamaican Carlos. I see a little post there that says he's on. Paula Herlock, good to see you as well. Gary, Examaica, DJ Jamaican, Steve Lynn, good to see you all. Joan Bogle. Yes, as I was saying, Tanya, so in 2018 now, the two major parties um, registered with no problem. Within 2 weeks of putting in their application, they were fully registered, no issues, no nothing. We put in our registration. I think it was February 1st or somewhere there of 2019, and 10 months of battle with the ECJ. 10 months of battle with the ECJ. And Tanya, I went door to door, signed up 1,300 Jamaicans. Okay, so we could get
This is
registered as a
weird.
political
This is
party.
not somebody who has ever called me.
It's a plan. You
This
see,
is
they're doing
weird.
it on purpose.
What is this? I'm so
They're
sorry.
doing it on
What
purpose. Yeah, it's on purpose. You
Listen,
know,
as
that's
a
why
bonus. If I use
they're
sense,
trying
somebody
to.
come to call me for annoy me,
Yes, it's a plan. It's a plan. It's a
Again, the
plan.
last time, please. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Go ahead. Go ahead. No worries. No worries. Yeah, man. So you see, that's how it works. You know, they're really trying hard to make it difficult. But we're gonna continue. Nothing is gonna stop us. I'm used to the fight. I'm used to struggling, and pushing to get things done. So nothing is going to stop me. Nothing is going to stop the UIC. And nothing is going to stop Jamaica from rescuing itself for the last several years. So let's see if Tanya can join us again. Um, let's see if she can join us again. Then we can continue. In the meantime, let me welcome MJ Official out of many one people. Here comes Tanya again. Let's see.
I think I've solved the problem now. I uninstalled Messenger.
And Tanya, you might have to turn off your Facebook or one of log out so they can't
Oh,
call you.
I uninstalled the Messenger app.
Oh, there you go. Wonderful. Yeah, man. So as I was saying, 10 months they battled us. We had to go public. We had to go try everything and to scream and shout before they finally let us through. And so we became Jamaica's third officially registered political party under the new system that they designed to get rid of parties. So they got rid of parties like the NDM, the Marcus Garvey party. None of them can register. They can't build up this support because it takes a lot of work. The laws that they put in place is designed to make it difficult. So you have to work very hard to put this back together. So those parties are now not registered, so they can't compete in an election as a registered political party. They can't. So they're now null and void. So the UIC became the first movement to beat that. Now here's what they did in the last election. Just before the election, they quickly. Remember, they took 10 months to approve us, and in a few short weeks they approved the this religious party. Remember, there was this religious
Yes.
pastor party that came on. So they quickly approved that in order to create confusion. They didn't want the people to have this clear cut. Here is the third registered party. So they quickly, and then they promoted it. They even promoted it. And you notice the newspapers and the other media gave it a lot of publicity so that they
Yeah.
could, because they know, it's a really, it's a party with some very strange ideas and some very strange pronouncements, and it was a novel party, and so they promoted that novelty and that weirdness and made fun of it and so on, so that they could distract the people and keep them fixated on. And they'll always do that. They'll always be using these, so we have to be ready. I try to tell my people it's not going to be easy. We have to be ready. We have to fight against all of these little schemes and tricks that they're going to use against us. But if we have the people, if we, the people, come together, then we can overcome. That is the key. For us to come together, stick together, work together. The other day, taxi drivers at the airport, they come to me and they said, "Mr. We need you to come down here, Mr. Patterson." So I went down there and I was so shocked. These men and women on this thing, they are UIC, they know more about it, they know who is here, and they're like, yes, we're ready for this. And so many Jamaicans, oh, I was in Linton Market the other day. I just walk into the market and this elderly lady just get up and say, "Are you Mr. Patterson? This follow your pine been up?" No, I was shocked because remember, you don't expect sometimes the older people to be,
Yeah.
on the. And this older lady got up and she call her friend them and tell them, is who this? I'm following, but watch all the presentation and the speeches on YouTube. I see when they lock him up and this and that. I was so overwhelmed to think that people who could be my grandmother are
Yeah.
telling me that they're following on YouTube when the mainstream media has deliberately sought to prevent the Jamaican people from hearing from the UIC. Our people, young and old, are circumventing that system. They're seeing us on Facebook,
Yes.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and I have to big up people like Jamaican Carlos, and Unstoppable, and Wayne Lonesome, so that people, Jamaicans across the world, can see the UIC and learn about us. When mainstream media, TVJ, CVM, uh, are doing such a good job of making sure that Jamaican people do not hear or know about the UIC. But we're going to overcome all of that. We're going to overcome all of that.
The what works in our favor is that these people are so arrogant that they continue to underestimate the intellect of the Jamaican population. And they also continue to overestimate their own skill level. Because I think one of the most damaging thing they could have done to their movement to keep you out was to arrest you.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done that. Nobody with half a brain cell would have done that, because that is securing martyrdom. I mean, if you want to make somebody a champion of the people, arrest him doing the people's work. That is the dumbest thing. And when I say they're dumb, people think I'm just being trite, and I'm not being. Trust me, I don't throw words around like that. I'm dumb. I would have ignored you, but I appreciate them. I appreciate them actually being so cocky and arrogant, because in that moment they cemented this movement as one to contend with. Because if they didn't think you have the traction, if they didn't think you have the possibility, they wouldn't feel threatened enough to feel a need to try and silence you. So thank you, JLP. The JLP led police force, Andrew's personal hitmen. Thank you. And all of what they've been doing has been going against what he's looking for. Is getting the exact opposite, because we are not that disconnected that we're going to sit and watch the police single out poor people picnic and exaggerate the responses to their behavior in an obviously politically motivated way. Jamaica not that disconnected. Labour and PNP alike look and say, they're not that them go after the little youth for. We stayed in Jamaica for the entire run of Trump's presidency and called him every name under the sun. We never have a problem with it. One little boy come out and say something. And we have a leader. It scares me, that we have a leader that is so fragile, with such a fragile ego, that he cannot withstand one little boy on the roadside. I say something about him. Eh? Suppose one country, suppose Trinidad did a launch attack, but what happened to we? We don't have a leader who can actually de-escalate a problem. And I know that a lot of people are going to run to his defense and say, but he didn't go out and get the boy, and he didn't order, but he did not publicly denounce the police for the singling out, and he did not make it clear that he doesn't want that under his watch. Him exacerbate one problem already so big. Remember, people are go through things, where people feel it just emotionally. Let's say the people who have food in them house can't process the idea that some other people don't have food. Think about the emotional effects of what's going on. And one little boy come out the road and let off some steam, and what you do is punish him with police action and national embarrassment, which by extension is international embarrassment, because there are no virtual borders. So when you go in and look in room and show by the way, if them come in my room and show my room, he would have looked just as bad, because me untidy bad. So when I'm going in room and them show him room and tell him, go put on one pants, boy, and boy him up. Most of us did not like that. So me can tell Andrew, call back your dogs them and tell them to stop do things like that. You see, all of them look at something where the police are come out and do, which I don't care if it's a PNP member of the police or is a Labour right member of the police. But the fact is, it looked obviously politically motivated, because people tell people that out the road all the time, and me never hear nobody get locked up for that yet. Until Andrew Holness' name come into play. And Jamaica was okay with it at the onset of all of this madness. Because I remember the first time when I said, you can't tell people fit in their yard if people don't have no fridge and people don't have no this and that and that and that. If you said that, if you tell me if you stay in my yard and me not have all of these creature comforts, me I go tell you fit. And one blogger took it and he cut it and he started exactly there and he labeled it that I told Andrew Willis. And Jamaica come down for me. The 14 parish wanted to tar and feather me. Them did want to put me on a fire and light me. Because me say, poor people cannot afford. Staying home is a very expensive thing. Not everybody can afford it, and people learn that. No, how come your audio mute? You muted? Nobody never call a while ago, so I don't know what one. No. Listen, at the JLP doping them for me thing, Wanna come off, election day, gonna come off for good. I don't know what's going on. You come on back. Yeah, I'm not hearing no audio. You sure you never mute your mic? You know what? We'll go for 1 hour and a half. And it was really, really good. I feel happy. It don't take much to make me happy. I just want to see the possibility of things going right. And Jamaica deserves it. We're one good country. We're one pretty place, and we have people work hard. Through desperation, people find a way. Jamaican people always find a way. That's why them should have never locked down the country. Because you know why? Now then show we say we can find a way. And once we know so we can find a way, adios, amigos. We have found a way. Joseph, Lord of mercy. Me not hear you none tall. Me don't know what go on. And nobody call this time. Come me delete the app. Then find a way for go zoom me. Oh, we need to do this again. We have to do this again. Maybe we can sit down in the same place and do it that way. We cannot have any technical difficulties. We can, and then I can ask let me ask the people I speak with, even the ones who disagree with me. I have to bring back a few ghosts from the restricted zones to ask them what question would they want to ask you, because more I hear them too. And what should we discuss? You know what I say. Are you calling me? I should talk. Okay, you hear me. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to hear you speak for yourself. And to be able to, it doesn't really matter to me that I talk to you directly. I just want to hear the questions asked that I have in my head. If somebody else asked them, I would have been equally satisfied. And I appreciate you making yourself available and being willing to engage. As you said, you're open, and I like that. I hope you keep that. And if you don't, I will be here to say, hey, Mr. Pattison, at the onset of this, you said, because make me love the receipts, you know. And this is how you're going to be. You're going to perform at your optimum, because we do this together, and we remind you of the good that you set out to do. We remind you of your best intentions. This is what we are supposed to be for each other. A reminder. It's not an I told you so. It is an hey, remember where we're going. And I'm hoping that I can go with you guys. And thank you for allowing me to become a member of the UIC. I will make it formal tomorrow. Bless up yourself. Big up yourself. Thank you.